Did you know that the very first thing you eat in the morning could be the key to unlocking stronger circulation, more energy, and even better performance in the bedroom, especially after 60? I know that might sound like an exaggeration, but I promise you, it's not. As a urologist who spent over 30 years working with older men, I've seen this play out time and time again. Men walk into my clinic feeling tired, unsteady on their feet, disconnected from their bodies, and often from their partners too. They blame age. They say things like, "Maybe I'm just getting old," or "It's probably just part of slowing down." But when I sit with them and really listen, when we begin peeling back the layers, what I find is something far simpler and far more hopeful. It's not always your age that's working against you. More often than not, it's your breakfast. Now, I know that might catch you off guard. After all, how much harm can a quick cup of coffee and a slice of toast really do? But here's the truth. That rushed, nutrient-poor breakfast is quietly setting the tone for everything your body struggles with throughout the day. Circulation to your legs and lower back gets sluggish. Blood flow down there becomes weaker. You start to feel heavy, stiff, or just off. And unfortunately, most men don't even realize it. They don't connect that low energy or that sense of weakness in the bedroom with what they put on their plate first thing in the morning. But the science is clear, and my years of clinical experience confirm it over and over again. Your morning meal isn't just fuel, it's medicine. Or, if you're not careful, it can be a slow-working poison that chips away at your vitality little by little. That's why I created this video. I want to show you that there is a way to restore what you thought was lost, not with prescriptions, not with invasive procedures, but with simple, natural foods you probably already have in your kitchen. I'm going to walk you through 5 specific ingredients that I recommend to my patients. They're affordable, easy to prepare, and most importantly, they work. They nourish the very parts of your body responsible for stamina, nerve response, pelvic muscle strength, and intimate confidence. These aren't trendy superfoods or exotic supplements. They're everyday foods, but when used at the right time, in the first hour after waking, they can make a dramatic difference. I've seen men regain morning energy after years of dragging themselves out of bed. I've seen men rediscover balance, warmth in their limbs, even a renewed sense of strength in their relationships. And I want that for you too. But I'll be honest, this only works if you're open to trying something new, open to questioning what you've been taught about aging, open to the idea that it's not too late, because it isn't. I've worked with men well into their 70s and 80s who made these changes and saw results within weeks. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring your body, giving it what it actually needs to keep working the way it was meant to. So I invite you to stay with me through this video, not just to learn about food, but to rediscover a sense of control over how you feel in your own skin, because that's what this is really about, showing up for yourself one morning at a time. And if something in this message speaks to you already, let me know. Just type a quick 1 in the comments. It lets me know you're still in this fight, that you haven't given up. And if not, that's okay too. You can type 0. Either way, I'm listening, I'm here, and I'm so glad you are too. Let's begin. The 4 natural morning foods that restore blood flow. Let's talk about food, not the kind you rush through or grab out of habit, but the kind that feeds the parts of you that might feel like they've been slipping away. Over the years, I've come to see breakfast not just as the first meal of the day, but as the moment your body decides what kind of day you're going to have, physically, emotionally, and intimately. And when it comes to restoring circulation, energy, and confidence after 60. There are a few foods that stand out above the rest. These aren't fads or fancy trends. These are ingredients I've recommended to patients for decades, with results that still surprise even the most skeptical. Let's start with something simple: whole eggs. I can already hear the objections. But doctor, I thought eggs were bad for me. The truth is, whole eggs, including the yolk, are one of the most complete sources of nutrients available, especially for men over 60. They're packed with vitamin D, choline, B12, and leucine, nutrients that repair the pelvic floor muscles, boost nerve sensitivity, and help regulate testosterone. One of my patients, David, was 69 when he first came to me. He hadn't felt strong or energetic in the mornings for over a year. I encouraged him to start his day with 2 boiled eggs. Nothing fancy, just real nourishment within the first hour of waking. A month later, he looked at me and said, "Dr. Kapoor, I feel like something in me woke up. I don't even need to push off the mattress anymore when I get out of bed." That's what happens when you give your body what it's been quietly asking for. Next is oatmeal, specifically warm oats topped with chia seeds. Oats are high in a type of fiber called beta-glucan, which gently cleans your arteries from the inside. When combined with chia seeds, rich in magnesium, potassium, and omega-3s, you're giving your blood vessels the nutrients they need to relax and open. More blood flow means more sensation, better stamina, and clearer energy that lasts throughout the day. I think of Ronald, 72, who was ready to give up on intimacy. He told me it felt like things were shutting down. I had him swap his sugary cereal for oats with chia seeds, a little cinnamon, and a few frozen blueberries. Within 2 weeks, his hands and feet were warmer. In 4, he looked me in the eye and said, "Dr. Kapoor, I actually look forward to waking up now." That shift in energy, that return of vitality, is what I want for you too. Then there's watermelon. Yes, watermelon. Underneath that sweet red flesh is a compound called L-citrulline, which your body converts into L-arginine, a precursor to nitric oxide. That's the very same molecule erectile dysfunction medications work on. But this is coming straight from nature. And here's the real secret. The rind, the part most people throw away, is where L-citrulline is most concentrated. You can slice it, chew it, or toss it into a smoothie. Gary, a 66-year-old retired school teacher, tried it reluctantly. 3 days later, he smiled and said, "Something's definitely waking up down there." He wasn't joking. It wasn't magic. It was circulation. And finally, the most grounding of them all, steamed sweet potato with a pinch of Celtic salt. Not table salt, not overly processed stuff. I'm talking about real mineral-rich salt that replenishes electrolytes and supports nerve signaling. Sweet potatoes are full of clean, complex carbs that provide your muscles with long-lasting energy without spiking your blood sugar. This combo is especially powerful for men who wake up stiff, numb, or unstable on their feet. Hector, 71, used to grip his nightstand every morning just to steady himself. 3 days after adding half a sweet potato with a glass of warm water and a touch of Celtic salt, he called me and said, "I stood up today without thinking about it. It felt natural again." That's what real fuel does. It stabilizes you, grounds you, reconnects you with your body in a way that doesn't feel forced or fleeting. These 4 foods, eggs, oats with chia, watermelon, and sweet potato, are more than nutrition. They're repair, they're restoration, and they work best when eaten in the first hour of your day, when your body is most ready to receive support. You don't need to eat them all at once. Just begin. Pick one. Try it tomorrow. Let your body remember how it's supposed to feel. Because what you feed yourself in the morning doesn't just determine your blood sugar or hunger, it determines how you walk, how you breathe, and how confidently you move through the world, especially when it matters most. The power of timing, why the first hour after waking up matters most. Now that you know what to eat, let me tell you something that most people overlook entirely. When you eat is just as important as what you eat, especially after 60. There's a window of time in the morning, that first hour after you open your eyes, when your body is more receptive than at any other point in the day. Your blood vessels are softer, more relaxed. Your nerves are more responsive. Your hormones are trying to reset and find their rhythm again. And your muscles? They've been resting all night, waiting for their first real signal of support. If you feed your body the right way during that golden window, you're not just giving it calories. You're giving it a message. I'm here. I care. Let's keep going. But here's the heartbreaking truth I've seen far too often. Too many older men skip breakfast altogether. Or worse, they grab something quick and sugary, something that spikes their blood sugar and leaves them crashing by mid-morning. Then the legs start to feel heavy. The energy drops, and that quiet voice starts whispering again. Maybe I'm just too old for this. But that's not your age talking. That's your body reacting to being starved of what it truly needed during the 1 hour it was most prepared to receive help. You don't have to change everything overnight. In fact, I'd never ask you to. What I will ask is that you choose just one of the foods we talked about, just one, and make a commitment to eat it within an hour of waking. That's it. Maybe it's 2 eggs, yolks and all. Maybe it's a bowl of oats with chia and cinnamon. Or maybe it's a smoothie with watermelon and a few chunks of that white rind most people throw away. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to happen. Because the goal isn't perfection, it's momentum. The kind of momentum that comes from doing one good thing for yourself before the world starts pulling you in 100 different directions. This small shift, just one food in 1 hour, can begin to reset your entire system. I've seen it bring back morning erections in men who hadn't felt anything in years. I've seen it help reduce nighttime trips to the bathroom, improve sleep, clear mental fog, and ease the stiffness that makes it hard to walk without holding on to something. And the men who've told me, Dr. Kapoor, I thought this part of my life was over, are the same ones calling me a week later saying, I feel like something's changing. I'm not sure what, but I'm noticing things again. This is the hour that matters. The first hour after you wake up isn't just about your stomach. It's about your circulation, your strength, your emotional well-being. It's about reclaiming your day before the demands of the outside world take over. And I want to tell you something you may not have heard in a long time. It's not too late. It's not too late to feel strong again. It's not too late to want more for yourself. And it's certainly not too late to make a change that sets everything else in motion. So tonight, before bed, I want you to decide which of the 5 foods you'll start with. Prep it, have it ready, because tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, your body will be waiting. And what you give it in that moment can change the entire trajectory of your day. One decision, one meal, one step forward toward feeling like yourself again. You don't need a new life. You just need a new morning. One simple habit to reclaim strength, balance, and intimacy. Now let's bring all of this into something real, something you can actually do starting tomorrow morning, because knowledge on its own doesn't heal. It's the small repeated decisions that bring your body back to life. And I'll be honest with you, this next part is where most men get stuck. Not because it's complicated, not because it's expensive, but because they keep waiting for motivation, waiting for the right time, waiting until they feel more ready, more energized, more hopeful. But that moment rarely comes on its own. It's the habit that creates the energy, not the other way around. So here's what I want you to do. Starting tomorrow, I want you to pick just one of the foods we've talked about. That's it. 1, maybe it's the eggs. 2, boiled or scrambled, yolks included. Maybe it's the oatmeal with chia seeds and a little cinnamon. Maybe it's a slice of watermelon on an empty stomach, rind and all. Or maybe you're drawn to something warm and grounding, like a sweet potato with a pinch of Celtic salt and a glass of warm water. Whichever one speaks to you most, go with that. Not because it's perfect, not because it's part of a diet, but because it's a promise to yourself. It's easy to overlook these things when you're older. Maybe you've had health scares. Maybe you've tried a dozen things and none of them seem to help. Maybe you've quietly resigned yourself to a slower life, a more limited body, and a version of yourself that doesn't quite feel like home anymore. But let me tell you this from years of walking beside men just like you, change doesn't come with a parade. It comes quietly in the form of small choices made with consistency and care. It comes from deciding, I matter enough to try. When you eat that one food within the first hour of your day, you're not just feeding your body. You're sending a signal to your heart, your brain, your nervous system. I'm still in this. I still want to move with strength. I still want to walk without holding the wall. I still want to feel something when I touch my partner or when I touch myself. And that choice, made day after day, becomes a rhythm, a steady hum that starts to wake up parts of your body that went quiet not because they were broken, but because they were forgotten. One of my patients, Eli, 75 years old, widowed, quiet but deeply thoughtful, started eating watermelon and eggs every morning. 10 days in, he called me and said, Dr. Kapoor, I forgot what this felt like. My legs feel light. I'm sleeping through the night. And, he paused, chuckled, my wife isn't here anymore, but let's just say I still feel her smile sometimes. I knew exactly what he meant. That quiet flicker of vitality, it's still in you too. Waiting. And this habit is how you bring it back. So tonight, just prep one thing. Boil 2 eggs. Slice some watermelon. Steam a sweet potato. Make it easy. Then tomorrow morning, within that first hour, eat it slowly, with purpose, with gratitude. Let it be the start of something, not a diet, not a fix, but a return to feeling grounded in your body, strong in your step, present in your relationships, and connected to the man you still are. This is how it begins, not with drastic overhauls or perfect routines, but with a single food, a single choice, and a quiet decision to show up for yourself, again and again and again. It's not too late, the science of hope for aging men. There's something I want you to hear, and I want you to really let it sink in. If you're watching this right now, if you've stayed with me through all of this, you haven't given up, and that matters more than you probably realize. Because most of the time, it's not the muscles or the nerves or the blood vessels that fail first as we age. It's the belief that we can still change, that something inside us is still worth nurturing, still worth waking up. But let me tell you, as someone who's walked with thousands of men through their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, you absolutely can change. Your body is still listening. And more importantly, it still wants to heal. I've seen men who hadn't felt a strong erection in years suddenly feel warmth return to their mornings. I've watched men who believed they were too old for intimacy rediscover the spark of connection with their wives, not because of a pill, but because their circulation improved and their confidence came back. I've sat across from men who once looked defeated and heard them say, "Dr. Kapoor, I feel like I recognize myself again." That recognition, that feeling of coming home to your own body, is not something reserved for younger years. It's something you can reclaim, and it begins with how you nourish yourself, how you move, how you wake up and choose to live your day. I know there might still be a voice in the back of your mind saying, "But it's too late for me." Maybe you've had surgeries, chronic conditions, years of unhealthy habits. Maybe you're carrying regret or grief or shame from choices long past. And if so, I want you to know, I hear that, I see it, and I also know it doesn't disqualify you. Healing doesn't ask for a perfect past. It only asks for a willing present. One small act of care, one meal, one breath, one new morning. I think of a man I worked with not long ago. His name was Eli, and he was 75 when he first came to me. He'd been a truck driver most of his life, spent years on the road, ate whatever he could grab at gas stations, and told me straight up, "Doc, I think I missed the window." But something in him still wanted to try. So we started small, eggs and watermelon. First thing in the morning. Nothing complicated, just a habit. 10 days in, he called and said something that still gives me chills. "Doc, I woke up with energy this morning. I stood up and my knees didn't complain. I looked in the mirror and I didn't see an old man, I saw me." That's not a miracle. That's biology meeting consistency. That's what happens when you stop abandoning yourself and start feeding your body what it's been quietly begging for. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You don't need to undo every wrong or replicate your 30-year-old self. What you need, what your body needs, is to know you still believe in it. Because when you do, something shifts. The muscles respond, the nerves fire, the blood flows. And with it, your energy, your sense of purpose, your quiet strength, all start coming back. This isn't about vanity. It's not about being young again. It's about being here, present, vital, engaged in your own life. You deserve that. And it doesn't start with a prescription. It starts with breakfast, with choosing to stand up and say, "Today I'm not giving in." You are not too old. You are not too late. And you are absolutely not alone. Final message: choose to begin, choose to thrive. If you're still here, if you've listened to every word, then I want to speak to you from the heart, doctor to patient, woman to man, person to person, because everything we've talked about, every egg, every bowl of oats, every slice of watermelon or spoonful of sweet potato, it's not just about circulation. It's not just about performance. It's about something far deeper. It's about reclaiming the right to feel good in your body. It's about dignity, about the quiet joy of walking with balance, the strength of standing up without wincing, the confidence of reaching across the sheets without hesitation. It's about remembering that this chapter of your life is still yours to shape. I know it might not feel like much on day one. You might take that first bite of oats or chew through that watermelon rind and wonder what all the fuss is about. But trust me, give it a few days. Watch how your legs feel when you get out of bed. Notice the warmth returning to your hands, the lightness in your step. Feel how your breath deepens when you climb the stairs. Listen to the small changes, because that's how the body speaks at this age. Not with fireworks, but with whispers. And those whispers, when honored daily, can become a roar. What I want most is for you to stop waiting for someone to fix it for you. You don't need saving. You need rhythm. You need intention. You need to believe again that your body is still worth caring for, that your blood vessels still respond, that your nerves still feel, that your spark, it's still there. Maybe it's buried beneath stress, years of neglect, disappointment, or grief, but it is not gone. It just needs waking up. And yes, this is personal, because I've sat beside too many men who waited too long, who said, I didn't think it mattered anymore. And I've watched the quiet heartbreak in their eyes when they realized how much they gave up without even meaning to. But I've also watched men in their 70s, some in their 80s, start again. And not just survive, but thrive. Not just function, but feel again. And every single one of them began in the same place, not with perfect motivation, not with flawless willpower, but with a choice, one choice, to begin. So I ask you, will you? Will you take 5 minutes tonight to prepare your first breakfast? Will you choose a food that speaks to your body like an old friend? Will you eat it tomorrow, not out of obligation, but out of respect for everything your body has carried you through? Will you let that moment be the beginning of something powerful? Because this isn't the end. It's not even the decline. It's a turning point. Your next act starts the moment you step into your kitchen and feed your body like it still matters, because it does. You matter. Your health, your strength, your confidence, your presence in the world, they're not behind you. They're waiting for you to show up, not with shame, not with regret, but with purpose. This is Dr. Maya Kapoor, and I believe in you. I believe in your body's ability to restore, to respond, to remember what it means to feel alive. So take that step. Let your breakfast be your beginning. And if this message touched something in you, if even a small part of you feels called to try, leave me a note in the comments. Type 1 if you're with me. And if you're still uncertain, that's okay. Type 0. Either way, I see you. And I'm here, walking beside you every step of the way. Take care of yourself. Stay strong. If something in today's video spoke to you, I'd love to hear about it. Just leave a comment below. Even a simple "I'm here" lets me know you're walking this path too. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next conversation. And if there's someone in your life who could use this message, feel free to share it with them. Sometimes the smallest act of care can change everything.